hello. In the dark, warm quagmire, a vicious substance slowly dissolves. My body regains a sense of boundless weightlessness. My consciousness stirs as sunlight filters through my blurred vision. We're back at Caleb's. Where am I? This place feels familiar. How did I end up here? Gentle footsteps echo outside. They're followed by the soft creak of the door opening.
Your fever's gone down. Just have some more rest.
Oh.
I asked the association if you could take sick leave. So, whether you want to rest at home or walk outside for the next few days, I'll be by your side.
His myths connected to the main story. Darn, I should have just sucked it up and done that night, but my voice was shot, chat. Is this a dream? Sunlight streams over the windowsill, yet the familiar face before me appears as if he's submerged in dark water.
It's okay. It's okay if you forget. Even if you don't remember anything, I can always say it again.
He lowers his head and gently grasps my hand. His gesture is almost tinged in reverence.
I'm Caleb. I'll always be...
A buzzing noise suddenly fills my mind and overwhelms other sounds. I shake my head and focus... Wow, words. I shake my head and touch my forehead. There's a thread-like crimson wound on the inside of my arm. My mind feels sluggish, as if something important that shouldn't have been forgotten was buried beneath a veil of empty ambiguity. What happened? That's what I would like to know. 10 days ago.
Dear passengers, we have arrived at Sky Haven. Please ensure that you take all your belongings with you as you exit in an orderly fashion.
Dragging my luggage, I walk out of the train station and recall the route I took before. As a fast food restaurant to the left of the exit, I take a picture. Hi, Harpy. How are you? Guess where I am right now. You're in Sky Haven? I turn off my phone screen and shift my gaze. The fast food restaurant's glass wall reflects my silhouette. The last time I came to Sky Haven was for work 2 months ago. I secretly infiltrated the Farspace fleet so I could investigate the whereabouts of an ether core fragment. It's going pretty good, honestly. I'm just kind of chilling. I got vanilla Coke. I got water. We're gonna do Caleb's myth. And yap. And you guys can ask me questions about the boys because I'm just in a yappy love and deep space mood. I can't words tonight, apparently, though. I messed with my model some more, chat. I feel like the tracking is a lot more smooth now. Plus, she's very expressive. I've been stuck in photo booth 2 all day today. I've done 2 edits now. I'm gonna do another edit when I get MC's like combat outfit with Caleb. Because I need that, but I don't Like, I took pictures of him, but it's just not complete until I have her outfit, too. During that mission, Caleb, who became the fleet's colonel, reappeared before me. Immense joy plunged me into a bubble of reclaiming what I had long lost. However, as time passed, I learned more. Caleb's changed behavior and attitude distanced him from the image in my memory. Though we've recently found a new way to get along, I still can't help but wonder. What secrets lie hidden beneath that uniform? Unfamiliar colonel uniform. And Caleb's shirtless outfit keeps staring at you. I really want that outfit, Harpy. Are you talking about the one from the memory I'm still trying to obtain? Mr. Cyborg Caleb?
You should have given me a heads up. Still like to do surprise attacks, huh?
Yeah, I want it too. I want it real bad. You always appeared in Lincoln without telling me in advance. Why can't I do the same thing? But you were quick to show up, Caleb. You already knew I was visiting, right?
Or maybe I was so excited after I saw your message that I stepped on the gas.
Speeding and knowingly breaking the law. I hope you know what your crime is, Colonel.
Yeah, I know. I was waiting for you to arrest me.
Caleb takes the luggage from my hand and gestures for me to follow him.
Have you eaten yet?
I was planning to drop off my luggage at the hotel first. Caleb, aren't you supposed to be on duty today?
What about you? You got a day off and decided to take a trip to Skyhaven?
Half a month ago, the Hunters Association assigned a special mission. The Farspace fleet requested a hunter's assistance in detecting metaflux for one of their secret missions. For work and to be closer to Caleb, I secured this opportunity. I made sure to arrive in Skyhaven one day before the mission starts. Our shadows begin to meld together as we walk. I hesitate before deciding to keep this to myself for now. Yeah, I took a day off to see you. You should be teary-eyed since that's the next step in the protocol. In the docking area, Caleb stops behind his personal aircraft.
Since you came all the way here for me, you need to play along with my plan now. Let me take you somewhere first.
Where are we going? "10 minutes later, I stare at the familiar scene before me. I'm speechless. Caleb, if I'm not mistaken, this is your house.
You're not seeing things. I gotta respond in kind to your surprise.
The door creaks as it closes behind him. He slightly leans forward and the necklace I gave him sways.
Someone had planned a business trip to the Farspace fleet well in advance. But they kept it so under wraps that I had almost no clue.
I see some people just let the cat out of the bag. Now it's your turn. Why did the fleet request a hunter's assistance? What's the secret mission? Before I can finish speaking, Caleb reaches out and pinches my lips shut.
We can focus on the work stuff later. Cancel your hotel reservation first. And then...
His warm hands land on my shoulders and push me deeper into his home. I quickly step to the side and turn around. And then what? Caleb raises an eyebrow and gazes at me as if seriously considering something. He then spreads his arms.
You know what I mean.
My memory of the past merges with the person in front of me. The corners of my mouth curl up involuntarily. I move closer and then slowly wrap my arms around his neck. Hi, Dr. Gamer. How are you? I missed you, Caleb.
Welcome home.
Right next to my neck, his breath tickles my skin. He gently runs his fingers through my hair.
I'm really happy you're here to see me.
As the sunset light filters in through the windows, our shadows lean closer together on the floor and meld into one. The sun sets and rises. As its radiance descends on the city again, I prepare to officially report to the Farspace fleet. The personnel info was supposed to be confidential, but you somehow figured out it was me ahead of time. Oh, I get it. You must have pulled a few strings again, Colonel.
It's a new day and you're still bothered by this?
I notice my shoelace is loose. Just as I'm about to bend down, Caleb crouches.
It's because you turned down the fleet's offer for a shuttle. Figuring out the possible reasons isn't hard.
Surprising you is no easy task. I pick up the cap from the nearby coat rack and run my thumb over the silver insignia, then place it on Caleb's head. Your entire demeanor changes when you're wearing a uniform.
Is it too intimidating? Or is the color too heavy for you? It doesn't matter what role I'm in. I'm still the Caleb who helps you tie your shoelaces.
Caleb ties my shoelace into a neat little bow. He then stands up and adjusts my collar before opening the door.
Let's go. And keep this with you.
He's so handsome in his uniform. A key?
You can use it to open the door to my house, my car, and my personal aircraft. You can try it on anything to see if it'll open, basically. Since you declined the fleet's shuttle, you'll have to ride shotgun with me this week.
Yay! Take me in the airplane! I'm ready. The official meeting between the association and the fleet will be held on the 17th floor of the fleet's command center. Upon arrival, I saw that the conference room was filled with attendees. Caleb had parted ways with me when we entered the command center. His new adjutant, Liam, guides me through the procedure.
Your seat has a label with your name on it. Walk straight ahead and you'll find it. I need to go now. I'll see you around.
Thank you. I nod at him, but just as I'm about to walk around the aisle, a voice calls out to me from nearby.
You're the hunter the association sent?
Your man wearing a fleet uniform has a row of medals on his chest. However, his piercing gaze that's directed at me only draws my attention.
So, the command center allows anyone to just waltz right in now, huh? Caleb sure has a knack for being an eyesore.
Excuse me, sir. I will box the fuck out of you. I pause, unsure if I misheard him, and Liam, who returned before I even realized it, positions himself to be in front of me.
Colonel Heath, is there a problem?
You shouldn't stick your nose where it doesn't belong.
Colonel Heath, I'm gonna come and I'm gonna show you just what I can do with these pistols, sir. I'm gonna show you. The man casts a dark look. With a snort, he turns around and walks away. That officer seemed to have a problem or two with hunters.
He's the Toon Fleet's colonel, a seasoned veteran with a notoriously bad temper. Try to avoid him whenever possible.
Liam escorts me to my seat. He nods once I sit down.
He has no problems with hunters. However, he doesn't see eye to eye with Colonel Caleb. You'll find out why soon.
Looks like this mission is going to be a bumpy ride. Fun. As the meeting is about to start, attendees take their seats. The door opens, and amidst the quiet attention of everyone present, Caleb walks to the center of the conference room.
I'm sure everyone is already aware that there will be personnel changes within the fleet next week. I will assume command over the Tomb fleet. Colonel Heath will be relieved of his duties so he can rest and recuperate at Atlee Island.
So his fleet got taken over by Caleb. No wonder he's upset.
The Wanderers and Metaflux Index in the Deep Space Tunnel are on a whole different scale compared to what Skyhaven and Lincoln display. This is why we've decided to collaborate with the Hunters Association. A hunter will supervise the physical evaluations of the Tomb Fleet officers. Now, the fleet handover ceremony will officially begin.
The hologram flickers and the lights dim. During the signal transmission, a faint glow lands on the various expressions of the fleet's senior officers in the conference room. Hi, Andy. How are you? My first day at the fleet's command center ends with the various transfer procedures. In the evening, Caleb and I decide to meet at the runway. What's taking him so long? In the night's dense fog, Caleb's figure slowly appears, but behind him is...
Colonel Caleb, why are you in a hurry? You're not interested in the upcoming banquet?
The handover ceremony is complete. Whether I stay or not, you should be on your way to Atlee Island.
Caleb's gaze sweeps past me, and he stops a short distance away.
Well, I'd like to give you some advice, young man. I know how you got this position. You're just Lucius's pawn, planted here to infiltrate the fleet. Just like how you took over my fleet. He can easily replace you with another sad pawn tomorrow.
I'm doing pretty good. Enjoying the Caleb release on Love and Deep Space. How are you doing, Andy? You're okay. My stomach's a little upset, but that's an everyday thing. In the fog, the man takes a step.
A year ago, I was standing in your shoes.
In other words, you've been abandoned, Colonel Heath.
I might be an abandoned pawn in his game, but not in someone else's. Kid, why don't you consider giving yourself a way out?
I didn't think I was gonna have interest in him, but then again, I remembered how I acted when I first played the game, like, off stream. And I was like, why isn't he a love interest? And then, you know, well, you all know what happens to him. I love my Silas still. Silas is still number 1. And then Zane is number 2, and now Caleb's number 3. I have 3 love interests. No shame, because I also have 74 husbands. So, it's fine. Everything is fine. It's literally just Silas. Silas is wonderful. We love him. He's number 1. Sorry, chat.
Once you're off the ground, the only path is forward. Have you gotten so old, Colonel, that you've forgotten what you once learned? Atlee Island's been experiencing lots of electromagnetic storms lately. Even the sturdiest aircraft could be torn to shreds. Worry about yourself first. I appreciate your advice, so let me remind you of something. Watch your step and keep your eyes on the road ahead. Until next time.
You...
Man seems furious. He attempts to stop Caleb, but his hand stops midway and droops down in a peculiar position, as if it's frozen in place. Well, we already know what he did. Blocking Heath's line of sight, Caleb strides over. When his gaze meets mine, genuine joy lights up in his eyes.
When did you get here? You must have been waiting a long time. Come on, let's go home.
He is so giving. Robot. He's robot. I need to read his antidotes. But I like these because these have cutscenes. The antidotes don't have cutscenes. I have short form content brain. It's already midnight by the time we get home. After changing my clothes, I lean against the couch and wait. Soon, Caleb walks out of his bedroom.
We're home and you're still frowning.
He walks over and gently taps my furrowed brow.
What are you thinking about?
Seems that a certain colonel has his fair share of struggles managing the fleet. I scoot over and make room for him. I wonder how I can ask him about that confrontation on the runway. After today, I think I understand why you need a hunter's assistance. This Colonel Heath doesn't accept you at all. While the situation looks like a fleet merger, it's really more of a one-sided takeover by you.
Oh?
But he's on his way out, so he's not worth stressing over. The real concern is the person pulling the strings behind him. They don't want you to control the tomb fleet. And that person is an actual threat to you. What appeared to be blah 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 words. What appeared to be an infighting within the fleet could get much more complicated if a third party jumps in. That's why the Hunters Association is involved. The higher-ups will try to clamp down on any schemes to protect their secrets. Meanwhile, you should be able to take over without a hitch. It's only been a few months, Caleb. You're definitely stepping up your game. I narrow my eyes as if I'm closely examining him. Caleb can't help but chuckle and passes me a nearby cushion.
Likewise. It's only been a few months, but someone's really been honing her people reading skills.
What about you? Who's supporting you?
Isn't that person you, Pipsqueak? You're keener and more skilled this time. Even your muscles look more toned.
Caleb leans in and the light casts a shadow under his eyelashes. The cushion remains between us.
But you still look a little worn out. Have you been feeling tired lately?
No. Yes. We lock eyes and my fingers glide over the cushion to rest on his hand. I hold it. Caleb, no matter what your next move is, I've got your back, so tell me, what do I have to do during this process? Right in my ears.
Liam will be overseeing the main procedure. You'll be in charge of gathering and organizing the personnel files of the Tomb Fleet, and overseeing their anti-transformation tests.
And
What's with that "is that all" look on your face?
Caleb rescues the squish cushion from my grip and hands me another one. His expression slightly becomes more serious.
Don't underestimate your role. You've been here for only a day, and you already sense the tension in the air. This won't be a walk in the park. If you run into any snags, let Liam deal with them.
Is that so? I raise my eyebrow at him and Caleb burst into a fit of laughter.
Of course, a small task like this is hardly a challenge for you. Guess I'll just kick back and see how it all plays out.
That's more like it. Choosing not to dwell on the tension he mentioned for now, I shove the cushion into his arms and give him a thumbs up with a smile. I'll make sure to protect you, poor helpless colonel, from getting fired. I really like the music for his. It's so purty. The official transfer of the Tomb Fleet starts today. As expected, the process is anything but smooth. No, 3997, Vice Captain of the Tomb Fleet. You've served over 5 years, is that correct?
Did you call me over just so I could listen to this crap?
Under the cold blue light, the Tomb Fleet officer across the glass wall is strapped into the interrogation chair, his expression filled with contempt. And let's cut to the chase. After the transfer orders were issued, the fleet arranged a medical examination for all officers. Can you explain why you chose not to participate?
Who doesn't know what this examination really means? You think everyone's itching to turn into a monster?
Monster? Are you talking about the touring ship?
Oh, you probably don't know, being a hunter and all. That ship is just the beginning of their twisted modifications. Let me be clear. There's no way I'm doing that examination. I don't care if it's about modifications or that ship. I'm not doing it. The fleet's real big shot will return soon. Let's see how long your monster colonel can keep this up.
The interrogation light switches off and leaves behind a faint, swaying shadow. The big shot. Could they be the person who poses a real threat to Caleb? I collect myself and lower my head to move number 3997's profile aside. Under it are old medical examination reports for some members of the Tomb Fleet. Same person shows completely different results after being transferred to Caleb's fleet and undergoing the medical examination. The chip rewrote Kevy's memories and now is causing a drastic enhancement in those officers' physical capabilities. Is this all so they can be modified?
Miss, here are the files you requested. I already organized them. Do you have any further instructions?
No, that's everything. Thank you.
Understood.
But that's suspicious. This guy.
No! I'm not taking that exam! I'm not going! Release me! Caleb can only pull this off because he has someone's backing! You monsters! Nobody wants to be like you!
Not only have his physical capabilities enhanced, but his personality has also been altered. What exactly are they trying to turn people into with this modification? Oh, thank you, Waffles. Thank you, thank you. I just fixed her a little bit earlier before going live. I fixed the tracking and everything. I feel like it's better now. I've been learning. Little bit each day. I get up trying to find that officer so I could get more information. But when I open the door, I'm stunned to see Caleb standing right there.
What happened? Why in a hurry?
Removing his hand from the door handle, he shifts his gaze to the end of the corridor.
You need something from that officer?
If I ask Caleb about the modification now, he probably won't tell me the truth. I should find more concrete leads. That way, when I confront him about this, he can't dodge my questions. It's nothing important. I realized I forgot to ask him for another file, but it's okay, I'll get it later. Caleb's eyes fall on the open examination reports. I lean against the edge of the desk, trying to gather up the files behind my back. Shouldn't you be in a meeting right now? What made you stop by? Caleb's focus stays on the stack of files. After a moment, he raises his eyes to meet mine again.
I see someone looked into my schedule. The meeting ended early. I was passing by and thought I'd bring you some snacks.
I do like snacks. Now, what kind of snacks are we talking about? Is it an apple again? If it's just an apple, I don't really want it. He offers me a small paper box he's holding. It's filled with bite-sized fruit tarts. Okay, I could deal with that.
Light refreshments from the meeting. You probably need them more than I do after working the whole day. By the way, you'll be having dinner on your own tonight.
There's another urgent meeting?
Just some minor stuff about the fleet merger. I'd rather take care of them myself.
Nodding, I accept the desserts, yet Caleb remains where he is. I pause and then open the box. I hold it out to him. If you're not in a hurry, do you want to eat some?
It's okay. Take your time. I'll get going now.
Wait, Caleb, how long will the meeting be? Caleb's gaze drifts over my shoulder and lands on the electronic clock on the wall behind me.
I'll pick you up at 9.
Why do I feel like Gurley's gonna sneak out again? The door closes. Through the parted blinds, Caleb's figure slowly dissipates at the end of the corridor. I hope I can find some documents related to this modification in the Colonel's office. After reconfirming Caleb's schedule and the office duty status through the virtual terminal, I set the dessert box aside and get up. I have 3 hours. That's plenty of time. Liam and Caleb are in the meeting. In the corridor outside the Colonel's office, I take out the key Caleb gave me. It actually works. The door opens and closes. A soft glow from the virtual screen illuminates the quiet office. His password is... In the past, Caleb used to jumble words and numbers that were meaningful to him in a particular pattern to create passwords. I tried 2 combinations and both are incorrect. With only 1 attempt left, I clench my fist. After a moment of hesitation, I try again. It works. The password was a combination of "when you come back" and "my birthday." I can't afford any distractions. As I duplicate his access permissions, I quickly search for anything useful. His personal profile, there it is. The profile reveals that Caleb graduated from the DAA Aerospace Academy and participated in secret training during his 3rd year. He achieved outstanding results. Secret training, another thing I didn't know about. Subsequently, I can't words. Because of his exceptional performance in finding new patrol routes within the Deep Space Tunnel, he was promoted to be the fleet's colonel. Recommended by Professor Lucis. So this person indeed played a role in Caleb joining the fleet. Caleb depicted in this profile is nothing like the person I know. And in addition to the unfamiliar resume, there's also a full body scan image. It is gradually revealed second by second. In the part that's already visible, his right arm is marked in an abnormal shade of blue. I zoom in on the blue area and notice how the bone and muscle structure are different from his outer arm. This is what they're referring to as modification. Just as I'm about to take a closer look, the system abruptly shuts down. The account is forcefully logged out. A notification appears saying that the device's login permissions have been revoked. Please re-verify your identity. Have I been discovered? What do you think, girly? I mean, I'm gonna guess you probably have been. Taking a deep breath, I quickly delete the terminal usage log. When I turn to leave, my clothes snag onto the drawer and yanks it open. Inside the drawer, a small rectangular object rests atop a pile of paper reports. Chip implanter. For clinical trials only. It's the Turing chip. Without hesitating, I hide the implanter in my shoe's secret compartment. When I close the drawer and get ready to leave, the door opens. Uh-oh. In the dim room, the brim of Caleb's cap cast a shadow over his gaze. He slightly tilts his head.
Why are you waiting for me here?
You took too long. I was getting impatient. That justification sounded absurd even to me. My palms begin to sweat, but he just grins.
Is that so? Let's get going then. The meeting ended early. Time to go home.
His eyes almost unnoticeably drift over to the now dark virtual before he turns and holds out his hand towards me. But I don't move.
What's wrong?
Aren't you going to ask me?
About what? About why you're in my office? Or whether you found the thing you were looking for?
Pulling back his hand from the door handle, Caleb lowers his head. His gaze, obscured by the darkness of the night, engulfs me from head to toe.
Anyone entering the Colonel's office without permission will be taken to the interrogation room. No exceptions. But I'm the Colonel. Whether you're entering without permission or here because of my orders, I have the final say. There's just one minor thing, though. Any intrusion and duplication of system permissions will be reported straight to HQ. Covering up the traces will be a hassle.
Caleb slowly pries my fingers from the terminal decryptor and takes it. His movement is deliberate yet firm, leaving no room for resistance.
I doubt you'd put me between a rock and a hard place, right?
The face, the voice, the actions, I know them all too well, yet the person standing before me is like a stranger. I open my mouth, attempting to question him, but the words falter and fade away. In the face of his composure, all my feelings seem utterly pointless. Caleb, I just want to figure out what kind of trouble you're caught up in right now. Can you tell me?
I can't speak about anything that's classified.
What happens if you do? Will you also be sent to the Atlee Island and become another abandoned pawn?
When's the last time you took care of your hair? It's a lot longer now.
He stays calm and gentle, softly brushing my stray hair away from my face, as if nothing happened. He smoothly shifts the conversation.
I can't even see your eyes.
I notice the blinding gleam from the insignia on his shoulder. After a long pause, I slowly manage a wry smile. Caleb, has anyone ever told you that this uniform is like your mask? He stands motionless. The door is right there, but we're locked in a standoff, unable to move past each other and leave. Let's go home. Darkness enshrouds his eyes, making his expression hard to read. He glances down for a moment, then lifts his gaze again. The fleeting wavering has already dissipated like a mirage.
Okay, let's go home.
We're going home. You know what, though? This man's over here not trusting me with shit. You know who does trust me with everything? Silas. Silas gave me access to all of the things in Onikainus. What are you gonna give me, Caleb? That's what I thought. I know Caleb wouldn't reveal the fleet's secrets to me. He once said he would have abandoned... Wow, words. He once said he would have abandoned if he didn't join the fleet. He didn't want me to suffer that pain again, and also admitted that he's always been this cold, distant, gloomy person, whether affected by the chip or not. I can't tell which version of him is the real Caleb. but I know he's the most important person to me in this world. I won't put him between a rock and a hard place. The fleet's colonel, secret training, and touring ship modifications, whatever these terms really mean, they're the strings that bind Caleb's hands and feet. These strings compelled him to reappear before me, and one day the unseen hand controlling these strings will pull him away from me once more. The Tomb Fleet's handover is undoubtedly a conundrum. I'm bracing myself for the process to drag on endlessly. Yet 3 days later, an unexpected banquet is held. As music fills the air and glasses clink, people approach Caleb every now and then to offer their toast in his honor.
I never thought the handover would progress so smoothly. Will you also present the survey report at HQ next month, Colonel?
There's a bright future ahead of you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
After dealing with another officer who came for a chat, Caleb finally puts down his glass and walks to the corner where I'm standing.
It's only been a couple of minutes and your hair's looking a little messy. Where did you go?
He gestures for me to lower my head, then he removes his gloves and leans in to carefully adjust the strands of hair near my ears. The ornate mirror beside me captures a transient glint. It's from the hairpin Caleb gave me before the event.
I imagined how good you'd look with it when I bought this. And I was right. You're stunning. Do you like it?
His fingertips brush against the back of my ear. It makes me shiver, but I don't flinch, and I don't say anything either. From your earlier conversation, the handover of the Tomb Fleet went well?
So you've been paying attention to what I say. Well, you're correct.
But until the day before yesterday, most of them were still unwilling to cooperate. My gaze sweeps across the banquet hall as I silently savor this peace I haven't experienced in a while. There are no biting remarks or sarcasm amidst the soothing music. The faces drifting by are peaceful and somewhat unfamiliar.
Are you asking me where Colonel Heath, Tomb Officer number 3997, and all those who opposed the handover went? Surely you figured it out by now. They're right where they should be. They won't disrupt us or cause you any more stress. Isn't that a relief?
I'm frightened. The night breeze rustles the curtains by the floor-to-ceiling window. Moonlight bathes him in a grayish glow and makes him appear like a statue made from plaster.
Why are you giving me that look? Do you hate it when I'm like this?
I'm just curious. If I throw a wrench in your plans like those people, what are you gonna do? Lock me up again?
You wouldn't force me to do that.
Yeah, I've got your back, but it doesn't matter what you do. So Caleb, why are you still not telling me about your plan? Amidst our silent impasse, the music transitions to the next song. It seems I won't receive an answer from him. I turn to leave, but in the next instant, danger erupts. What's that?
Get down!
Something whizzes through the air. My sight is obscured by mist. Out of habit, I turn and draw my gun, but Caleb reacts even faster. Suspended in front of his forehead, defying gravity, is a bullet. You're their target? Quick, take cover. I tighten my grip on my gun and try to lead Caleb behind a pillar, but he stops me in my tracks. He doesn't meet my gaze. His eyes lingers on his palm instead. His lips pressed into a thin line for some reason. Caleb?
There's no point in hiding. This bullet is probably their first move.
As we talk to each other, the commotion inside the hall quickly subsides. Well-trained officers quickly regain control of the scene, but the assassin has yet to be captured.
It's a diversion. Their actual target must be elsewhere.
He slowly clenches his fist. When he raises his head, the shadow of his cap's brim obscures his eyes. Following his line of sight, I look outside. He's staring in the direction of the Alpha and Beta fleet bases.
You stay here. Liam.
How many people can you trust right now, Caleb? I'm your best choice. I shake his grip off my wrist. Something flickers in Caleb's gaze. A hint of hesitation betrays his words for the first time.
It's possible that either the Alpha or Beta fleet base has been taken over, but I can't be sure which one. I already sent people to the Alpha fleet base.
I'll check the other base for you. Our eyes lock and we find ourselves in a stalemate once more. This time, after a long silence, Caleb finally relents.
Liam, go with her.
The adjutant standing silently beside us looks at Caleb, and after they make eye contact, he nods to acknowledge the order.
Be careful.
You too. I hastily hoister my gun and head for the exit. Before I step into the dark night, I look back. Caleb, you really do need me for this, right?
Yes.
All right. Wait for my good news. The girl's figure fades into the night. She's heading in the opposite direction of where the real danger lies. The veins on Caleb's neck bulge and then recede. He narrows his eyes at the bullet in his palm for a long while. He slowly tightens his grip around it. Of course he lied to us again. In the unfathomable darkness, the only source of light emanates from a door slightly ajar in the fleet's armory. The approaching sound of footsteps reverberates in the vacant, dim corridor. The man who's sitting in the room unveils a malevolent grin.
You're quick on your feet. Ugh!
I had a feeling it was going to be that Heath guy again. Seemingly crushed by an unseen force, the man's veins instantly swell. His face turns red and he collapses to his knees, unable to control his fall. At the same time, numerous red dots light up, all zeroing in on Caleb's figure that's concealed among the shadows.
Who said you could start it when she was around?
How could you?
No gunshot rings out, and the expected explosion never comes. Caleb locks eyes with the dumbfounded man as he walks into the light, one deliberate step at a time. The gun barrels aimed at him are twisted downward. The crisp sound of breaking bones cuts through the air as he steps onto the man's wrist, pinned it to the ground.
Having me die for no clear reason in this armory I've just taken over. Honestly, it's not a bad idea. That'll definitely make those cunning old foxes at the top suspicious. Naturally, I'll be a perfect justification to purge all the people I've just gathered under me.
After slowly putting on his gloves, Caleb leans down and grabs the man's distorted, reddening face.
Too bad you picked the wrong target.
Caleb's hand moves to the man's throat. Heath's eyes bulge in with pain as Caleb's grip tightens, and the bones in his neck creak under the pressure.
You don't you dare to kill.
Why don't I? Haven't you already come up with a reason for it? A firearms mishap in the armory, with Colonel Heath and others heroically sacrificed. Humor me for a bit. Who do you think those old foxes will protect? A valuable colonel? Or a bunch of corpses with unknown causes of death?
Colonel Caleb, it's been a long while.
In the shadows, a slender figure emerges. With a flick of that person's fingers, dark blue veins abruptly surface on the side of Caleb's neck. He's brought down to his knees.
I thought destroying the Turing chip would be difficult. I'll just use your dead body as a greeting gift to Professor Lucius then.
The incandescent light bulb suddenly goes out. With a flash of lightning outside, Caleb's pupils contract in an instant.
I was wondering how Heath would dare to act so recklessly. Turns out it was you.
With bloodshot eyes and muscles taut and strained, Caleb slowly lifts his head, each movement unscored by the flickering and throbbing hum of electricity.
Even with you involved, the outcome will still be the same.
The door slams shut with a jarring finality, setting off the symphony of sounds that echo like a chaotic banquet. Yet as the thunderstorm rages, the cacophony gradually gives way to silence. I cannot words tonight, chat. I apologize. I'm doing my best. They're hurting Caleb. Subdued thunder grumbles in the sky as a deep roar resounds from the command center that's concealed within dark clouds. Aircraft stands on the silent runway. After checking both bases, I confirmed that the so-called takeover was nothing but a fabrication. Above my head, the navigation lights of more than a dozen aircraft weave dense, glowing trails along the night sky. The wind stirs up in airwaves, sending them swirling into the distance. Those are Caleb's reinforcements, right? I look at the adjutant who had forcefully escorted me back to Skyhaven. In the descending rain, his countenance remains calm. The fleet bases were never in danger. It was Caleb who played in the diversion, and you knew this, Liam.
Considering the circumstances, ensuring you left the area was for the best.
Did he also predict they'd make a move at tonight's banquet? Caleb planned out everything, but I never thought my role would have me be... out of the game.
You were the only person the Colonel can trust. However, your presence would affect his decisions. Please don't hold this against him.
How could I? It's just that his overwhelming need to protect me is kind of laughable. Even if I return to the fleet's command center now, I'd only end up being a spectator at Caleb's side. On the dimly lit street where the light and shadow intertwine, I shuffle around aimlessly. Liam, you're Caleb's adjutant. Do you think he trusts you?
I don't need the Colonel's trust. I only need his orders.
So if he orders you to leave behind your loved ones, you'd do it.
That's precisely why I can stand by his side and serve him.
The red light flickers on the opposite side of the empty crossroad. I stop in my tracks and look into his empty gaze.
Miss Hunter, we're not the same as you.
How so? Is it because I haven't been modified by that chip? Liam, if that chip was implanted into me, what would your colonel do?
He'd do whatever it takes to get it removed. But miss, you don't have to put yourself through that pain.
Of course.
You're safe now. I'll start heading back. The Colonel said he'll be waiting for you at home, after the banquet ends.
Liam bows and then salutes me. He turns to leave. The downpour drapes over the glass wall by the street. I look over and see my blurred reflection in the cascade of falling Asia tactic? Apple petals. I'm sorry if I said that wrong. The Turing chip I took from the Colonel's office is still in the secret compartment of my shoe along with the implanter. The remaining distance between Caleb and me will disappear with just one simple press. The streetlights glimmer in the rain as I sit on a bench. I'm drained out of strength. The implantation is quick and simple. There's just a faint trace on the inside of my arm. This is my secret to bear alone. It feels like me against the world. I'd go to any length to cry out my agony. Just imagining Caleb's reaction upon finding this out sends a shiver through the depths of my heart. The sound of footsteps draws closer. Just as the shadow engulfs me, the rain stops.
I've been looking for you everywhere. Why didn't you return home? Liam shouldn't have left you alone in the street.
I walked here by myself. It has nothing to do with him.
Why are you sitting in the rain like this? You'll get sick.
When we played hide and seek in the past, Caleb always managed to find me. But even if he finds me now, I can't bear the thought of going back to that place called home with him. Caleb, look. There are apples in Skyhaven. I'm just gonna say that. I turn away from Caleb's face, letting my gaze drift to the line of blossoming trees that extend into the rain.
There was an Asiatic apple tree by the train station near our old home.
It's like the game knew that
Every
I was
year
struggling.
when its petals fell, you'd be there to see me off before I left for Skyhaven. I didn't know you liked Asiatic apples.
Asiatic. That's how I say that word. I don't. Because Asiatic apples flowers take you away from me. I don't like them.
No one can take me away from you.
The vibrant clusters of flowers carry no scent, like I'm staring at a row of trees adorned with beautiful but lifeless specimens.
Will you come back with me now?
Oh. How long do you plan to lock me up this time? A month?
If every problem pulls me further away from you, then I'll spend a lifetime searching for the answers. But until that final moment, we'll always be together.
What if my friends and colleagues from the association come looking for me?
In that case, I'll hold a funeral they can attend, so they'll think you're gone forever. Let's go back, or else you'll catch a cold.
Isn't it funny that you're worried about me catching a cold after discussing my funeral?
So, if I don't show concern as someone close to you, it doesn't count as being genuine? You can't convince yourself to hate me with every fiber of your being. Wouldn't you agree? I'll eventually find a way to make things right. As long as you're by my side.
Caleb, I hate it when you're like this. But what I hate most is how you're always able to make me change my mind.
I'm sorry. I feel like I don't know how to take care of you anymore.
Caleb, what's going on? Caleb!
Let's go home.
going on with him? Given Caleb's current state, I can't entrust him to anyone in the fleet. I have to take him home. Without even drying off from the rain, I use all my strength to bring him into the bedroom. As soon as I push open the door, his weight pulls me down onto the soft bed with him. I prop myself up and my gaze is drawn to the crimson veins behind his ear.
Warning. Emotional fluctuations have surpassed the threshold limit.
Amidst the deafening roars of thunder, he seems ensnared in a deep nightmare. In agony, he's pulling his collar apart.
Don't take her away.
I'm here, Caleb. I'm not going anywhere. Clenches his fist, his pale knuckles leaving behind a trail of blood. I quickly take his hand and press it against my chest. The crimson veins beneath his skin branch out from behind his ear, extend to his shoulder, and flow down his tense right arm.
Commencing chip activation process. Executing mandatory erasure of neurons.
Sweat soaks his hair on his forehead, dripping onto the bedsheet. Meanwhile, his body is racked with spasms. Even though I'm unaware of what changes his body is undergoing, the scene before me is all too familiar. In the serene garden of that villa in Skyhaven, Kevy, who recently lost his sister, went through a similar experience. This isn't good. I have to make it stop. Steadying my trembling hands, I try to search for a button on his body, one that might not even exist. It's at this moment he opens his eyes. The room swirls around me and my back is slammed onto the bed. I look up and find Caleb's face, drenched in sweat, staring back at me. Caleb. My wrists are yanked above my head, pressed against something cold and stiff. It feels as if it's not his hand that's restraining me, but rather a lifeless machine.
Why are you struggling? Are you scared of me? Do I feel like a stranger to you?
He leans down, his damp hair catching the room's cold light in the room. Drops fall and trickle down my collarbone.
Program complete.
How could you possibly understand my guilt and sin?
The pressure pinning me down finally eases. His body slumps onto me. Only his right arm continues to twitch in some sort of rhythmic pattern. Since Caleb returned to me, I rarely had nightmares about him, but I dreamed of him that night. There was no sun. He floated within a dark green jungle. The ropes that bound him morphed into vines sprouting from sturdy branches. They wrapped around his wrists and ankles like venomous snakes flicking their tongues. Every muscle swelled under the vines' encroachment. Tiny hair-like thorns pierced his skin and greedily siphoned nutrients from his flesh. They then injected new toxins into his nerves. His body trembled like a beast caught in a trap, struggling against the restraints that only grew tighter with every move. Finally, he crashed into the dirt, buried by leaves carrying the scent of decay. A wilted leaf fell down slowly. It covered his hollow eye socket. The jungle devoured his body, leaving him as a withered tree, choked by its grasp. Waking up from that dream, I groggily reached towards the other side of the bed. Caleb. My palm feels nothing but the mattress. I instantly return to reality. Caleb. Where is he? Hello, phone. Why does it do that? Irritates me. I need to go to the living room. As soon as I make a turn into the hallway, morning light floods my vision. Skyhaven's sunlight has always been brighter than the one that touches Lincoln. Through the gaps between my fingers, a figure becomes clear, as if rising from a pool of clear water. When did you get up? I let out a sigh of relief and walked towards Caleb. I placed my palm on his forehead and then slide it down his right arm, gently squeezing as I go. Do you feel better now? Let me take a look.
You...
His gaze shifts to my face. He's holding a photo that was originally placed on the coffee table.
When I woke up this morning, I saw you were lying down next to me.
Oh, is that it? Not intending to guess the meaning behind his words, I lower my head and take the photo from him. In it, Caleb is wearing a uniform. The girl next to him is planting a tender kiss on his slightly surprised face. His embrace and the way he carries himself feel familiar. His body doesn't resist, and it almost seems like he wants more. This is a photo of Caleb and me. It was taken when he graduated from the Aerospace Academy.
So...
His fingers brush my temple as he tucks a strand of hair behind my ear. Tracing the curve of my jaw, Caleb gently lifts my chin. His cool touch strokes my cheek as if he's seeking an answer to some words. Question beneath my skin. I can't.
Who are you?
Who am I? Caleb, you don't remember me? The most absurd assumption ends in being true. You saw the clip on Insta? There's been a lot of clips on Insta. Caleb is sitting in front of me, yet he acts like a puppet stripped of its soul. Unlike Kevy, his memories haven't been altered. The touring ship has completely wiped them out. So it's more than just me. You don't even remember who you are. As he sits on the couch, it feels as though a frosted glass wall separates us. He's so near, yet I can't see him clearly.
But I remember the way you made me feel.
He lowers his head, his index finger fishing out the metal necklace hiding under his collar.
I also remember you gave this to me.
Hi, Sam. How are you?
Were we close like this?
Yes, good. I'm doing pretty good, too. After everything that's happened, it's hard to put our relationship into simple words. He was one of the most important people in my life. Even with all that's happened, he's still someone I can't afford to lose. My heartbeat is like a balloon that rises high, only to come crashing back into my chest. When I lock eyes with Caleb, a ridiculous thought strikes me like lightning. No matter what I say, he'll believe me. We're the most important person to each other. You're the most important person to me, and I'm the most important person to you. As if to affirm my words, I snuggle against Caleb's chest and wrap my arms around his neck. Caleb, I'm the only one in this world who truly knows you.
You're the only one who truly knows me.
You'll never leave me, just like the vines that cling to a tree. We shared a part of our lives with each other, so we'll never be apart.
I'm sorry. I can't remember anything.
It's okay if you can't remember. For now, I'll always be here for you. The pleasure from deceit and setting traps almost numbs my limbs. I tighten my hold on him and my lips brush against his earlobe. Just like what you've done for me. The open window is closed as a sudden breeze sweeps through the room. Our shadows intertwine and blend into the flickering darkness, mingling with the shifting patches of light on the floor. Caleb, can you promise me something? From now on, you won't go anywhere else. You'll always stay by my side. Is that okay? After a moment's hesitation, the chill touch of his arm seeps through the thin fabric of my clothes and settles on the small of my back. The tightening force devours the last bit of distance between us.
I promise.
The amnesiac Caleb was like a blank page in a book, a result of an error, and if someone must rewrite him, then that person was me and me alone. I hid his phone, fleet uniform, communication device, and anything else that might wake him from this dream. It's never easy to locate a fleet colonel's residence. That dim house was chaotic. I can't words. That dim house was a chaotic black hole evading the constraints of time. He's reduced to a solitary floating island that drifts within, and I was the sole resident. Over the course of 3 days, it's as if we returned to our childhood, to the small garden of the shelter where we first met. We only grew with each other's company, and the world beyond these walls didn't mean anything to us. Caleb, there are a lot of monsters outside. Will the world end tomorrow? There's no need to be afraid of the end of the world. Where do you want to go today? Let's have some fun. The amusement park. Skyhaven's amusement park was built on a small island near the central island. The top half of the Ferris wheel disappears into the clouds. Amidst the crowd's screams, the pendulum ride reaches its apex. Just off the ride, I lean against the railing, my stomach turning like a storm.
Aren't you supposed to be a deep space hunter? Is it safe for you to hunt in deep space when you're like this?
Caleb crouches down in front of me as he holds the ice cream he just bought. I didn't have breakfast today. Besides, suppressing a sudden wave of nausea, I lean in and take a quick bite of the ice cream in his hand. It's just a title. That doesn't mean we're hunters in deep space, or we go into deep space to hunt.
So, if you're a deep space hunter, then what am I?
You're standing up and letting out a sigh of relief. I place the puppy-eared head where I've been holding on Caleb's head. Then I hook his index finger with mine as we walk to the bustling crowd. You're the sidekick of a deep space hunter. Time flows differently in the amusement park. Even without planning anything, we still manage to spend the entire day here. The dusk in Skyhaven paints the sky in shades of purple and orange as the sun sinks into the distant sea of clouds. The sightseeing train loops around the floating island. In the last passenger car, Caleb and I sit side by side in the back row.
I bet you used to tease me all the time. Am I right?
He removes the headwear and tucks it into the plush apple bag slung across his chest. He ties the glittering balloon to the train's car handle. But you always took it willingly, even enjoyed it. He pats his own shoulder.
Want to take a nap?
I yawn again and lean my head on him. Caleb, in a happy place like an amusement park, no one wants to waste time sleeping.
Really? Well, this place kind of feels like a dream. And I don't think it's a waste of time to sleep in a dream.
Shifting into a comfortable position, I nuzzle Caleb and close my eyes. Then promise me you'll still be here when I wake up. The wheels rumble as they begin to move. Suddenly, a watch on my wrist emits a faint vibration. I turn away from him a little and check the message. It's a notice from the Hunters Association. My temporary assignment is supposed to end in 3 days. The association is asking about progress of this mission and confirming my return date.
You took away my phone, so it's only fair if I confiscate your watch, I think. Why do you look unhappy?
I put away my watch and turn back around. It's nothing. Our sweet dream is about to close its doors.
It'll be open again tomorrow. We can come back.
The clouds in the sky look like a flowing oil painting. Right behind Caleb is the fleet's command center on the central island's highest point. He's been MIA for 3 whole days. I wonder how long it'll take for the storm to reach us as it brews atop that tower. Words rush to my lips, but suddenly, for some reason, my mind feels foggy from a throbbing pain. Maybe this planet will explode tomorrow, and it'll be the end of the world.
That's nothing to be afraid of. The world we live in is already mid-explosion. So even if it comes to an end, we can always move on to the next one.
The pain from inside of my wrist intensifies, but somehow my nerves start to twitch with a strange, excited tremor. I'm older now. I don't believe in those stories anymore. I look down at Caleb's hand resting by his knee. Carefully, I separate his fingers and give them a soft squeeze. I just realized how big your hands are.
Back then, when I was teaching you how to shoot, I couldn't completely cover your hands. But now...
Caleb's eyelashes flutter down as he lets me play with his fingers. Then gently he closes his hand around mine, enveloping it completely in warmth. Now we've both grown up.
Does that mean we can finally do all the things we used to want to do but couldn't before?
We couldn't do, or do you mean the things we wouldn't dare to do? Our fingers intertwine, our skin rubbing against each other. I can feel his heartbeat travels from his bones to my ears. Caleb's voice takes on a serious tone.
What if I dare? Will you do the same?
My fingers slightly tremble in his grip. I have a sense that something is about to happen. I look up and force myself to respond with a determined smile. Caleb, since you said that, then... Prove it! Prove it to me!
I thought everything I did was proof of my sincerity.
The train track stretches into the clouds. Caleb leans in and presses his forehead against mine. Something seems changed in a heartbeat. His necklace sways in the wind, and the silver glint flickers before my eyes. A kiss touches my earlobe, and his teeth lightly graze my skin. A shiver rushes through me like a subtle poison that spreads through my fingertips. In this hazy moment, all boundaries appear to blur and grow unchecked.
I like you.
Why did he say it like that? My head begins to feel foggy and heavy again. Out of the corner of my eye, I notice several aircraft approaching the floating island. They're exclusive to the fleet at Caleb's command. Every deployment is inevitably linked to its colonel. Tension grips me, and as I see them, I quickly wrap my arms around Caleb's neck. Caleb, let's go home. He follows my hurried glance, but fortunately, the drifting clouds obscure everything from view.
We'll head back as soon as we get off the train.
Let's leave now. Are you scared or something? Clouds stretch endlessly outside the train, but I know Caleb will find a way out eventually. I press my hands against the edge of the train car and push myself up.
Hey, where are you going?
Use your eval. Anywhere is fine. Doesn't matter anyway. Tomorrow is the end of the world. He grabs my arm and pulls me back into the train car. As his eyes sweep over my inner arm, his grip tightens around my wrist.
Where did this come from? The chip?
I see his lips moving, but I can't hear him. Everything is drowned out by a piercing buzz. They're here, Caleb. They're coming. My body feels lighter, and the sweltering heat vanishes into darkness, drenched in cold sweat. Pain surges in waves. Only a faint straw-like glimmer of light remains, floating on the surface. Whoa! Whoa! I don't know if I might need to level him up one more time. My body no longer feels like my own. The searing pain courses through my nerves, burning me from the inside out. It's as if I'm being rewired with cold, ruthless precision by a scalpel. Erase, organize, the relentless buzzing in my ears makes me want to scream, yet amidst the excruciating pain, something is gently pressed to my lips. I bite down instinctively, and a metallic taste spreads across my mouth. When I regain consciousness, my hands and feet are bound to a bed. I can't move. The familiar cold light hits me. I'm in the Fleet's infirmary. Why did you bring me here?
You need to control your emotions for now.
Caleb. He's back in his Fleet uniform, wearing that same unfamiliar mask-like expression. You remember everything? Since when? When we were at the amusement park, or even before that?
I haven't even asked my questions yet. When did you get that Turing chip implanted?
Blood rushes to my head and my sanity fractures under my shaky nerves. Cold sweat pours down as I bite my lip to keep from crying out. Let go of me. My struggles are futile to him. Caleb removes his gloves and gently rubs my swollen lips with his thumb.
Don't hurt yourself. Rest. The surgery is being prepared. The pain will disappear soon.
The pain deepens with each throb of my nerves and my vision starts to blur again. I'm almost collapsing in his arms, but I refuse to give in. Ever since we reunited, have you been enduring all of this? Why didn't you tell me?
If telling you the truth means watching you willingly get caught up in this mess, then I would have never shown up in your life again.
Caleb, I don't understand. They changed you, treat you like a pawn, and make you do those awful things. But you belong with me. You're the person I cherish most. How could they do this to you?
You're not feeling well, Pipsqueak. Please, just rest. When you wake up...
Caleb isn't paying attention. I quietly undo the restraints.
What are you doing?
I push him away, slip off the bed, and stagger towards the door. No one can take you away from me. I'll bring you to a place where no one can find us. I feel as if my body is out of control. When the spinning finally steadies, I find myself stumbling and sitting down by the door. Behind me, Caleb walks over. He looks grim. Let go of me.
When you're like this, where do you think you can go? If you can't calm down, just stay like this for now.
Did she bite him?
Remember when we were kids and you had a fever? You were so restless that I worried you'd hurt yourself by biting your tongue. So I let you bite my hand instead. One time you bit down really hard, and that mark lasted for 2 weeks. At the time, I thought that when you were older, I'd settle the score with you. One grievance at a time.
She's so angry. Now I'm the one who will settle a score with you.
What do you want?
I want to peel open your heart to see what secrets are hidden within. As for the Farspace Fleet's colonel, I missed
A trial? What have I done wrong? What are you accusing me of?
You killed my Caleb. The Caleb in this uniform.
Pipsqueak, you should get some sleep now.
Look at you. You're like a sinner who's confessing.
Then can you carry a little of this sin too? Don't leave me in this loneliness any longer.
My head, it hurts.
It'll be like when we were kids. When you wake up. There won't be a trace of pain, or any memory of it left behind.
Well, that was sad. Behind the glass wall, Liam watches the girl as she lies on the device. The neural scan projection shows the red area spreading from the chip. It indicates that less than 10% of her body is affected by corrosion.
Forcefully dissolving the chip will erase all memories formed since its implantation, and it could cause irreversible damage to how her brain remembers things. The worst outcome would be that she loses all her memories. Do you still want to proceed with the surgery?
Yes.
Presses the execute button and maneuvers the device to push the girl into the extraction pod. Liam hasn't checked the chip modification progress for a while. It's been a long time since he has lost control of his emotions. Most of his memories with his wife were erased during that initial struggle. The only fragment that remains is the image of the tears she shed when they last saw each other. He knew he should have cried too, but his feelings were like rusted old machinery. They rigidly froze his outstretched hand.
The chip has been successfully dissolved. The user memories have been erased.
Wait a damn minute. Wait a damn minute. Is she not gonna remember any of them? That's what I need to know right now. Is this connected to the main story? Because if it is, did she just forget all of them again? Sorry, I'm theorizing already, chat. We haven't even finished it yet. The process finishes smoothly and the projection automatically disappears. The only unknown answer will be revealed when she wakes up. Liam looks at Caleb, who's beside him. With how he now observes things, he can't say which is more agonizing, forgetting someone or being forgotten by them. In the dark, warm quagmire, a vicious substance slowly dissolves. My body regains a sense of boundless weightlessness. My consciousness stirs as sunlight filters through my blurred vision. Gentle footsteps echo outside. They're followed by the soft creak of a door opening. After a long while of trying to place it, I finally recognize the face before me. It seems to emerge from a hazy, water-like blur. Caleb. Sunlight spills a reddish golden hue into the room. As I lift my head to shield my eyes, from the glaring sunset outside, Caleb leans in to block the light for me.
I asked the association if you could take sick leave. So, whether you want to rest at home or walk outside for the next few days, I'll be by your side.
My head feels heavy and foggy, as if I've lost some important fragment of memory. Our eyes meet and slowly my gaze drifts to the red marks peeling out from beneath his cuff. Bite mark? Caleb, what happened? Caleb slightly purses his lips. For a fleeting moment, his expression appearing peculiar. It's as if he's fallen into an abyss of sorrow.
It's okay if you can't remember for now. Eat something first.
He helps me up, tucks a pillow behind my waist, and sits on the edge of the bed. He's holding a bowl of porridge. The millet porridge is thick and fragrant. Words. Perfectly cooked. I took a couple of spoonfuls from his hand and before turning my face away.
You don't want more?
I don't feel like it. He gives a slight nod and stands up. As he turns around, a sudden wave of anxiety hits me. I immediately grasp the fabric at his waist. Where are you going?
I'm just putting the bowl away.
Caleb sits back down and opens his mouth like he's about to speak, yet he chooses to remain silent.
Don't worry. I won't go anywhere until you fall asleep.
The shadows under his eyes betray a night of sleeplessness. He gently brushes away the stray strands of my hair.
Feeling sleepy?
Every cell in my brain feels drained. It's like I fought for so long. Still, I shake my head. I don't want to rest unless you help me fall asleep. I have a hunch that when I wake up, he'll no longer be the Caleb who only belongs to me. I curl up against his chest. After a moment, he wraps his arms around me, resting his chin on my shoulder and letting out a soft, tender laugh.
Sure. Should I tell you a bedtime story, or do something else?
No bedtime story. You've never been a good storyteller since we were kids. Besides, I don't want to hear any more of your stories. A cool silver light glimmers near my neck. The metal pendant gently swings back and forth. Struggling to keep my eyes open, I cradle the pendant in my palm. When you come back, do you still remember what this gift represents?
You hoped I'd come back safe and sound from every mission, right?
Back then, I thought if you could just return to me, I wouldn't ask for anything else. Fleeting emotion passes through Caleb's eyes. I look up and tenderly touch his face. Caleb, you'll always stay by my side, right?
Yes.
Then, should I put a bell around your neck? I trace my fingers along his neck. They brush over his Adam's apple before pressing down on the center of his collarbone. It'll be right here. That way you won't be able to escape.
When you held my hand that day for the first time, I knew I'd never get away from you.
He leans down and kisses my forehead with a tenderness to show how much he cherishes me.
So don't be afraid. No matter what happens, I'll be here for you. Now, time to sleep.
I smile and settle into a comfortable position in his arms. I close my eyes. Wow. Okay, hold on. I smile, settle into a comfortable position in his arms, and close my eyes, holding his hand gently. What Caleb doesn't know is that the dissolution of the touring ship didn't completely erase those memories. Even long after, I still remember every absurd story I told him during those 3 days. The misplaced kiss amidst the clouds, and the searing warmth of his skin. However, this little secret only exists in those 3 days. It must wither and decay, buried in the soil, even if we were to fall and get devoured in the dense jungle. The amusement park is closed. Dreams are meant to remain within the realm of dreams. I love roleplay games. I love this game. It's beautiful. And it's a mobile game. It's just this beautiful. I love it. No one has visited the small garden behind the shelter in a long time. The young man wearing a uniform pushes open the iron gate and walks along the desolate path into the expanse of plants. His leather boots step over a toppled seesaw in the weeds. In the distance, within his view, a girl is sitting on a paper crane. Her back faces him. She swings her legs over. When she turns to him, the rusty springs beneath her emit a jarring, screeching note. Caleb, you're here. The side of the elephant slide was etched with uneven marks of their height as they grew up. One row on the left, one on the right. His marks always sit a bit higher than hers.
I'm the older one, so I'll always be taller. And because I'm older than you, my hands are bigger. I'll start school earlier too. I'll always be a step ahead. That's just how it is.
The boy's voice fades away. He looks up and sees his 11-year-old self climbing that tall tree near the building for the first time. He sits at the tree top. He draws out a paper crane from the window using his evol and brings the girl from inside the building to the window's edge. He times it perfectly. He peeks out from under the windowsill and extends his hand towards her. He asks if she wants to come along with him. The abandoned place with overgrown vegetation is their very first paradise, but the wind sweeps away those lingering echoes of the past. Hide and seek is over as she appears before him from the swirling darkness. Caleb, how come you're always the first one to find me? Her voice pierces his heart like a jolt of electricity, a lingering affliction he can never quite heal. It's also the source of his fears, his retreats, and his darkest thoughts. She stands at the end of everything, drawing him in. Gravity warps into a black hole around her. He clasps his right arm as though an offering of solemn gesture and devotion.
Maybe it's because I love you a little more than you realize.
In the zero-gravity lab, the young man's body floats under the cold light, suspended in a primordial state. Tiny currents of electricity crackle in the air and slither into his mechanical right arm.
The partial modification that's been completed is still under the Turing chip's control. However, we can't access the chip's records of Caleb's memories.
Has the chip been damaged?
Despite Caleb not being the perfect subject, they sacrificed a great deal to obtain him. If the Turing chip in his body suffers any damage, the long-hidden plan will be in vain.
The chip's integrity is at 93%. It appears he's purposefully sealed his brain rather than damaging it. The patrol data we input disappears whenever it reaches a specific area. It doesn't get rejected or intercepted. It vanishes as if...
It's being pulled into a black hole.
Yes.
How troublesome.
Humans are inherently flawed, making us indecisive and hesitant. Only by erasing these weaknesses can we become invincible. If we don't tackle this area, we'll never be able to achieve a complete modification to him. Is there another way?
The Enforcer inputs another string of characters on the control panel. After a moment...
Found it. This area was encrypted with multiple layers, so there must be a key to unlock it. There's likely only one key, and it's probably a one-time use.
The old man nods, giving one last glance at his great work before turning to leave the room.
Then let's find it, no matter the cost.
That was his myth. Lucid dreams. I have so many questions right now. Like, I kind of feel like Caleb and MC are like main characters, both of them. It's strange. There's something, I don't know.